Hola, ¿cómo están todos? Bienvenidos a una charla de franquicias. Este episodio a muchos de ustedes les va a gustar. A nosotros siempre nos preguntan cuáles son las franquicias que rinden, las franquicias que son a prueba de recesión, franquicias que de repente no necesiten que ustedes sean súper vendedores porque de repente por cuestión idioma o por alguna razón no quieren estar en el día a día de realizar las ventas, un negocio que les otorgue clientes recurrentes, así que tengan una buena base de clientes y un gran porcentaje van a seguir viniendo y no tienen que revender y revender y revender. Y también una franquicia que sea prueba de recesión, una franquicia escalable, una franquicia de pase lo que pase con la economía o si se viene una pandemia, que el negocio aún prospere. Y también quieren poder tener recursos, apalancamiento a gran nivel, una franquicia madura con muchos años de trayectoria, una franquicia que tiene cientos de unidades. Esa franquicia se las trajimos hoy. Hoy tenemos como invitado a la franquicia Mr. Handyman. Ellos se dedican a la reparación, mantenimiento y mejoras de hogares y también de pequeños negocios. Así que hoy día vamos a aprender ¿cuánto es el monto de inversión que necesitan para arrancar una franquicia de este tipo? ¿Cuánto potencialmente pueden ganar? ¿Cómo van a conseguir sus clientes? ¿La franquicia cómo les apoya? ¿El entrenamiento? Y en realidad, ¿qué otros beneficios ustedes ganarían si se llegarían a unir a esta franquicia? Y como siempre, les recordamos que sus preguntas están bienvenidas. La dinámica de hoy va a ser un poquito diferente. En vez de andar traduciendo, toda la entrevista va a ser en inglés y al final de esta entrevista vamos a hacer un recap en español. Así que de repente va a ser más dinámico, es algo que queremos tratar con el propósito de servirles mejor. Entonces, tomen notas de sus preguntas mientras estamos entrevistando. En inglés, ustedes están bienvenidos a hacer sus preguntas, ya sea en inglés o en español, acá para que los invitados lo puedan responder en vivo. Y también nosotros, después, cuando nos quedamos haciendo el recap, vamos a poder aclarar todas las dudas. Esta es una de las franquicias, obviamente, que nosotros recomendamos. Como les hemos mencionado muchas veces aquí en la compañía, nosotros tenemos más de 700 franquicias en portafolio. Tenemos muchas franquicias que están bajo la misma categoría de Mr. Handyman, están en la misma área de home services. Entonces, acá el propósito de estas entrevistas son que ustedes puedan aprender de conceptos, que puedan entender lo que conlleva ser el dueño de una franquicia, cuánto van a invertir, cuánto pueden ganar, cómo funciona. De eso se trata, que ustedes puedan comparar esta oportunidad de negocio con otras oportunidades de negocio. Nosotros a nuestros clientes les recomendamos que comparen 2 o 3 franquicias, las investiguen bien y después con nuestra ayuda, obviamente con nuestro acompañamiento, y después así teniendo información completa puedan tomar una decisión que sea la mejor para ustedes. Bueno, sin más preámbulo, déjenme subir al invitado, Greg. Hey, Greg.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, Greg. So we are going to talk about Mr. Handyman and maybe a little bit, a brief either now or at the end when we talk about, because when people invest into a brand, they get some benefits, right? For instance, the benefits that they are going to have in savings, in training, in cross-marketing, in being able to to be part of this amazing industry, all of that. And so that comes with the brand. But then when you belong to a group of brands, so then you have extra benefits.
Absolutely.
And if you are a part of a large industry that no matter what, people need to use your products or services, that's even a plan. So that's what we're going to talk about. But let's start talking about what does Handyman do? What do owners of this franchise, what do they do on the day-to-day?
So great question. And the exciting part about that is, Yaliv, we're not looking for a handyman. We're looking for someone that can grow and lead a team, someone that can follow a marketing plan, and someone that can follow the numbers. Basically, we're looking for the CEO type, the business owner type, people that have maybe been in white collar type of jobs before like that, but not a handyman. So the day to day is going to be running the day to day of the business, not the actual handyman work.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And you been franchising for how long?
Mr. Handyman was founded in 1996, so we're about to hit 30 years, and we're part of Neighborly, as I know you were talking about earlier, and Neighborly is almost 50 years old, so we've been doing this a very long time.
And I see that you guys have more than 300 units.
Yes, we are right. I know it says 340 there. We are actually over 350 now, so we're growing lots and lots.
Good job, good job, good job. And then, although you guys have more than 350 units per se, you guys still have availability.
We still have lots of very good availability out there all across the country. Still lots of good available territories.
That's awesome. So the services that are being offered, are they mostly residential or commercial or both?
Yeah, wonderful question. And I'm gonna talk a little bit about the services here. So I know it lists whatever that is, 8, 10 different ones. We actually have 55 different services that we perform, both in the home and on the commercial side. We have a very robust commercial team that actually that has national accounts that to be able to work with some of these commercial businesses. Many of our franchise owners, they get into bigger things than just the traditional handyman. They do things like full kitchen and bathroom remodels, pouring driveways, sidewalks, building decks. So they get into bigger things than just the smaller handyman type of things as well.
That's awesome. So some people may not know about national accounts. Can you please build on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I spoke with our national account representative today for about an hour, and just what we will do is go out, build these agreements with these national accounts, companies, Hobby Lobby, companies like that are all over the place, and they have handyman, needs as well. And so what will take place is they will be given a list of the Mr. Handyman in their area. And then when they have those handyman needs, then they reach out to that local handyman. So we have hundreds of those possibilities across the United States on the commercial side of things.
Okay, that's awesome. So for people who are not used to the national accounts, and some more younger brands per se don't have this service, this does, and it's a plus, especially for people who, how there's people saying, I really don't like to sell. I don't want to keep doing sales over and over and over. I'll do better if I can get help with lead generation or having clients, and this is what you guys offer. So that's great. And 55 services, and you guys also do larger jobs.
Do what? Say the last part again.
Like full renovations.
Oh yeah, large jobs too. Yes. Kitchen and bathroom remodels, building decks, driveways, full renovations as well. Absolutely. I want to comment, if you don't mind. I want to back you up on something when you said as far as the having to go out and kind of having to go out and sell. And I know I'm probably jumping ahead to one of the slides, but over 72% of our business comes from repeat customers. So let me kind of explain that. So the average home in the United States is over 42 years old. Okay, 7 to 10 handyman projects per year, right? So things break in a home. Everybody knows that. So when that customer, Mr. Handyman, is going to do a wonderful job with that the first project that they do. And when they have those additional projects throughout the year, who are they going to call? They're going to call Mr. Handyman. So you're not going to have to continue to, that customer is going to be a customer for life. So 72% of our business comes from repeat customers, which is a phenomenal number, says how good that Mr. Handyman does.
Yeah, that is pretty high, and that's pretty amazing. So let's say I have major electrical issues at home. Can I call Mr. Handyman, or will the franchisee from Mr. Handyman say, call Mr. Electric?
That is a great question, and you hit the nail on the head. So Mr. Handyman, if there is something that is outside of their scope of being able to do it, we have, as you know, there are 19 total Neighborly brands, and they'll reach out to the appropriate one, in that case, Mr. Electric, and refer that business as well. And it goes both directions.
So let's say Ever here is the franchisee, and I call Ever, Mr. Handyman, and I say I have these major issues. Now, will Ever said call Mr. Electric, and will Ever get a cut because he generated me as a client? Or
they do that. I would say that's on the local level. So just kind of, there's not anything official from Neighborly that does that, because the way we look at it is you're going to get paid back when it happens the reverse next time, right? So maybe next time, let's say someone calls 5-Star Painting and they just have a very small job. They want to paint a door frame maybe, and 5-Star Painting may say, yeah, we don't want to do this. Let's just call Mr. Handyman for this. So so it goes both ways. So they typically don't do a cut. They can if they decided on doing that, but most of the time it's just the referring back of business.
Right, because you guys had also kind of cross marketing, correct? So maybe, yeah.
Oh, so absolutely.
And let's talk about it really quick. And thank you, Jen, for being here too. So because this is one of the benefits that anybody that partners with one of your brands will get. So being part of 19 brands. So can you build into it? How, let's say, Ever just became a brand new Mr. Handyman franchisee. Will he be able to solicit the other clients from every other brand?
Yes, wonderful question. And the answer is yes. So our marketing department, whenever we open a new Neighborly franchise, whichever one it is, they have access to the customers of all the Neighborly brands in that area. They will send marketing out, emails, etc., that's basically introducing him, saying we have a new Mr. Handyman in the area, so on and so forth. So yes, absolutely, we will market to the customers of those other Neighborly brands.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what about, because you guys have more than 350 units, how are you guys doing in Florida? Let's say in the south part of Florida, central, and the west side of Florida. You guys have territory available?
Yes, I'm gonna defer to Mr. Jim Calabrese down at the bottom of the screen, because he's got his map pulled up, and I'll let him take a look at that for us.
Thank you. You're muted, Jeff. James, sorry.
Okay. Why am I muted?
There, you're good now.
Okay now? Okay. I didn't do that. Somebody muted me for me. Thank you so much. Okay. I don't know if you can see my screen. I don't know how to share my screen from your...
I don't think we gave you capability to share, yeah. And I don't know if Ronnie, you can give James capability to share.
Just kind of why don't you just walk them through it real quick,
yes.
James?
Yes, please.
Okay, so again, I'm sorry, you said Southern Florida?
Yeah, South Florida, like the Miami area.
Okay. Miami is sold, but Fort Lauderdale is available. Hollywood is available. If you go to the other side, Fort Myers is available, and Port Charlotte is available also.
Perfect. What about in the Orlando area, Tampa area availability?
Actually, there's a territory that is for sale in Orlando right now.
Is this a resale?
Yes. It's a resale.
Perfect. Okay. A lot of you guys are looking for a resale, and Orlando is a great market, so give us a call for that. What about the west side, the West Coast, like Tampa, St. Petersburg, Sarasota, those areas?
Tampa is sold, but there's a city called Lakeland, Florida that is available.
Perfect. Yeah, fast-growing area?
Yes.
Perfect. What about Texas? Our people want to be in Florida, in Texas mostly.
Everybody wants to live in Florida and Texas.
I know, right? No tax, that's why. No state tax.
Right, that's exactly
Good weather,
right.
yeah.
For you. What part of Texas are you talking about?
So Houston, outside of Houston, around Houston, Dallas.
There's a lot of territory available in the Houston area. North Texas is pretty much sold. There isn't much available there at all.
Okay, Jalil, can I ask?
Please,
for,
yes.
Can I ask for territories in Salt Lake, in Utah, and Salt Lake City, and surrounding areas? We've got customers there.
available. Let me pull up the map and see what else is out there. But Salt Lake City itself is available.
Perfect. Perfect, perfect. So I want to bring the slides back. Ronnie, si me pones, por favor, los slides. Perfect. Oops. Here we go. Okay, guys, let's talk about investment, Greg. How much
very good.
do they need to run this?
Yeah, this is taken directly off of the FDD right here to give you an idea of the initial estimated initial investment. So the range showing from 123,000 to 159, you can see where the difference is. Very affordable investment. And I typically lean toward the high side because I want to see someone be able to be very successful. So I would lean toward that 150 to even 200 just to be fair. But we have a very affordable initial licensing fee, which is going to be usually comes in right at 65,000. We do something very unique. And I don't know if I sent you that slide or not, but we use what we call targeted households. So we have a proprietary system that uses over 15 different categories, looking at things like the age of home, household income, et cetera, to determine what we deem as a targeted household, someone that's likely to do business with us. So our territory fee is based upon 60,000 targeted households. That could be 100,000 population. It could be 500,000 population. So, but we want to set people up for success. So we set them up with what we call targeted households.
Got you. Is this something that they have to pay after they join, or is this part of this investment amount?
Oh no, it's all part of it. So that's
Okay.
item line number one there. So I was just kind of referring to the size of the territory and what we do to make sure to set them up for success, that we are putting them with the type of clientele that's gonna use Mr. Handyman services.
Yeah, I love it. What about the benefits? We were talking about benefits. Is this a Monday through Friday?
Pretty much, yes. I mean, obviously, if someone wants to work weekends, they can, but it's not not something that's going to be emergency type work. You know, don't need anyone on call. These are just normal, handyman things. Now, I will tell you this: if we start getting more and more into commercial, then commercial is very important on the timing of the job. So that one, I would say, the more you get into commercial, the more that you're going to want to have that more availability. But if you stick with the residential, yeah, you're Monday through Friday, normal business hours.
Got you. And so let's go line to line. On the first item, we were talking about direct marketing to the consumer. So how is that? So let's say I purchased the franchise, and then there's a database of 400 households or more, and you guys are going to be doing that direct mail marketing?
Yeah, so we have our largest Neighborly has over 2,000 corporate employees. We're huge, right? The largest department is our marketing department. We have hundreds of people in our marketing department. So I'm very proud to say that our owners will have a local marketing specialist that will deal with them day to day. This is not the same person that's their business coach. This is just a marketing person. So they have more data, because whatever location that you're looking at, Florida, Texas, we know those are the two favorites for your clients. But wherever we're looking at, we already have customers there with one of our other brands, right? We have Mr. Electric, Mr. Rooter, Grounds Guys, Molly Maid. So we know many of the marketing trends and things like that. So we have already the emails, the pay-per-click, all of those things are already built. So we just have to turn it on.
That's awesome. So simple to operate and scalable. What about, can you walk us through what will the monthly expenses be? So for a franchisee, and let's talk about the first year.
So when you're saying like monthly expenses, like what's the
like
overhead
your
for
office, your insurance, because this has a low, it's.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't want to go into all of them because I'm afraid I'll miss something, but you have your regular office space. We do not require a large office at all. 400 or 500 square feet, just something to go into, right? Something to park the trucks. So you're probably your bigger monthly expenses going to be your rent, your insurance, as you mentioned, the vehicles, gas, vehicle expense. And the biggest one, and I'm not going to miss this one, the biggest one to be successful is going to be that marketing. So we do so much for you, but that local marketing, there's still an important to be able to spend those marketing dollars as well.
Got you. And the employees, are they W-2 employees or are they 1099?
Yeah, great question. They are W-2 employees, which the very nice thing is we're going to keep them very busy. So you're not paying them to sit around and do nothing. They will be very busy from day one. From time to time, you might have some contract employees. I always use the example of maybe if there's something that comes up, maybe you have 4 handyman out there and you get a job that's maybe laying tile, and none of the 4 are experts in laying tile. Then maybe you might contract someone out to do that, for your customer. But for the most part, yeah, we're going to start off with W-2. We like for them to start off, you leave to have 2 service professionals when they open their doors.
Okay, so they are going to need 2 laborers per se. They are W-2 and also an office manager, or can the franchisee be the office manager?
The franchisee can be the office manager. I'd like to see them do that right off the bat, to have someone, and really it could be a combination of that customer service rep, that person answering the phone, in the office manager. That person could be the same. Can it be the owner? Yes. But I would like to see sooner rather than later, them hiring that out so the owner can spend time on building the business, not answering the phone and the general day-to-day stuff.
Got you. So when they first start, 2 employees, or do they need 3 or more?
They could get away with 2, but I'd like to see 3.
Got you. Okay, got you. How do you guys support the franchisee?
I would love to say that my Spanish was better to read this right now, because I've been doing good so far, but so, the support is wonderful. I always talk about this I've mentioned it a couple of times earlier. With us being part of Neighborly is the largest home service franchise company in the world. Okay. We've been doing this for almost 50 years with Neighborly. We have helped many, many, many people build their businesses. So we didn't just start this last week, right? We've been doing it a very long time. We have nearly 6,000 franchises across Neighborly. So the first thing is you're going to, as soon as we've mutually decided this is the right fit, and it is a mutual evaluation process. The next thing that you become an owner. What's the very first thing that happens is we're going to introduce you to someone that is called oh my gosh, I lost the word. But they're going to be their first coach, and they're going to work with them. This is before you've ever opened the doors. We're going to spend probably 6 weeks with you on initial training, things, videos and daily contact and things like that. Once that takes place, there we go, on that Sure Start training right there. The Sure Start coordinator is the word I was looking for. Going to spend about 6 weeks doing that. Then they will actually go to an existing owner, spend several days there, get to experience the day in the life with a technician, with that customer service rep, with that owner, really seeing it from the inside out. Then they'll come to, actually those should be reversed. First, they'll come to home office, spend a week in Dallas home office, and really work on lots of the skill sets with the computers and all of that sort of stuff, marketing. So just lots and lots, very, very detailed training support. You'll have your own, as I mentioned earlier, your own marketing specialist. You'll also have your own business coach. Once you've graduated from the Sure Start, open your business, you will have a business coach that you will deal with on a daily, weekly basis that will help you with all of the things in building that business. We have probably 25 30 people at Mr. Handyman dedicated to helping just with Mr. Handyman, people build their businesses.
That's awesome. And that's one of the benefits of franchising, to have all the back support. So one of the things that I like is I'm also a franchisee with a business brokerage franchise. And I do love, the conferences, those annual conferences where we get training, we get motivation, competition. And that's what you guys have. So is there like a yearly or?
Yes. So I just needed one word. Now I recognize all of those words in Spanish now. Yes. Thank you. So yes, absolutely. So we do have several things. We have a regional meeting in the early part of the year in the springtime. So there's I think 4 or 5 regions. So you'll get together with other Mr. Handyman owners, home office support staff, and really share experiences, help everybody build their business. We have a national, we call it our reunion, which I think is that middle one. We call it a reunion. It's like a family reunion. Kind of interesting. We just had it literally last week. We have over 4,000 people attend this. These are owners from all of our different brands, home office support, etc. And there's training, there's awards banquets, just lots and lots of support. I'll tell you something, and you probably know this, but a lot of people don't, is we did a survey some years back, and it was to ask people how important they thought it was to have other franchise owners to be able to kind of help them out. And they ranked it on a scale of 1 to 10. And before someone opened their doors, they ranked it about a 3. They said, it's important. They asked the same people a year later, how important is it to have those other franchise owners that can help you and ask questions? They ranked it almost a 10. It's that important to have those existing franchise owners. And we have a wonderful network in the Mr. Handyman community, people that are more than happy to help. And like I said, these people, when they're doing the training, the training out on location, these guys they're volunteering their time. They don't get paid for it. They're doing it because they love the Mr. Handyman brand.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Will they also get a mentorship from people from other brands, or you guys kind of keep it within like Handyman mentoring other Handyman franchisees?
No, great question. So we have something we call the Neighborly Hub. So we will do different meetings and things like that of all of the different neighborly brands within a geographic area. So you mentioned Houston earlier. So they may have meetings within all of the neighborly franchise owners in the Houston area, because as you mentioned earlier, you were asking about cross marketing and cross selling and all of that sort of stuff. So these guys get to know each other and can help each other out. So absolutely across the brands.
Got you. Yeah, that's pretty cool, especially for people like me. We come from other countries, and sometimes you feel lonely. So if you belong to a franchise, then other franchisees become your friends or your family. People at corporate, they also become your support and your friends. So that's pretty good. And continue support. Let's talk about money, right? How much money can franchisees make with this brand?
So this one is my favorite slide of all of them. Yeah. So this one I don't need the translation on this one. I know these numbers. So we are nearly 900,000 average revenue per location. So that's not per owner, because owners may have 2, 3, 4 locations, right? So that's per location. There gives you some high and the low and the median as well. But I'm going to focus on that 890,000 for a minute. And the question is, okay, well, is there any money to be made? Now, our FTD does not share margins, but I will tell you this, Yaliv, in the last 2 years straight, Franchise Business Review, which is an independent company, they have ranked us one of the most profitable franchises in the United States. So 900,000 average location, one of the most profitable franchises in the U.S. Put those two together, my goodness, it is very, very exciting. That's why this is my favorite slide.
That's pretty awesome. Okay, yeah. So one single territory can generate almost 900,000 in revenue, and this is after year 2 or after.
So yeah, so that's average. So the high on that's the 2.7 million. So that's average. And yes, this is after the first year.
Got you. And for this 2.7, is this just one single territory as well?
One territory.
Or multiple?
One territory. Absolutely. One territory.
That's pretty amazing. And sometimes we get people saying when they see the item 19, they say, even if I get to the lower number, and I'm like, don't think like that. See yourself above average. Don't see yourself as a low number. But then also there's information online about how much money business services make. And according to the internet and according to validation or people who run these businesses, they make 15 to 30%. And sometimes if the owner works a lot more, we've seen a little bit more too. And we did talk about this. Here it says 70.9% of recurring, but you did say that it was 72%.
Yes, 72, I think we've got an updated number on that, but 71, 72 still phenomenal that comes from, from existing customers.
It is. Okay. And I guess this is explaining how the office runs.
Yeah, you and I already kind of went through this. You've got the owner at the top, then the office administrator, and then in this case, it's showing 4 different service professionals, 4 different vehicles. We're going to have you start with at least 2. You'll keep them busy, and then grow 3, 4, 8, 10, however big you want to grow it.
And average service is 684.
684 is the average job size, but here's what's really neat about that number. It is 684 is the average gross sales per job, but remember, most of the time you've got these customers that you're coming into their home more than once per year, right? Because they have something else break, they call you for something else.
Right. And I mean, if we do the math, right, how long are the 2 technicians in somebody's home? So an hour, 2 hours, but it doesn't matter how you do the math, how much you're paying them an hour. If you're, if it's costing you $200 to send 2 people there, and the repeat business. And 75% residential, 25% commercial, perfect. We've talked about the support. So here are the other brands that you guys own.
Yep.
Yeah. So, what about the industry? And I can tell you what are the things that I like, because we do a lot of home services. We recommend home service brands, and our clients are doing amazing, because of what we just talked about: low overhead, scalable. Even with one territory, you can do a lot. Let's talk about how resilient is this industry, and how big is the industry?
Yeah, for sure. And again, one of my other favorite things about Mr. Handyman and the entire home services industry, but Mr. Handyman in particular. So I mentioned earlier, average home in the United States is 42 years old, requires 7 to 10 handyman projects. But here's the one that I didn't mention earlier. The question is, who's doing those projects now? So I know on the camera you can see I got a little gray in my hair there. I don't know which way to turn my head. Come on, you leave. My goodness, I said a little. Come on, you're giving me a hard time.
Ever doesn't have any.
But there you go. You got it down there.
Halfway there.
So the reason I say that is we have an aging population here, right? Guys like me that know how to do the handyman work. Or getting older. I had a true story about 2 months ago. I was in my house on an 8-foot ladder. I had a big a globe, and there was some bugs had gotten in there. It looked dirty, so I was up on the ladder to clean this. My wife was holding the ladder. I hand her the big globe to sit down. She sets it down on the couch. When she was not holding the ladder anymore, I see like a little spider web or something. I reached to get it. The ladder almost falls. And she looked at me and she said, you need to get rid of these ladders and hire someone to do this. You're basically getting too old to do this. That's really what she told me. And so, there's so many, the people that know how to do this are getting to the age to where they're hiring companies like Mr. Handyman. So you say, well, we can have the younger generation do it. The younger generation hasn't learned these. Look at Evers, he's shaking his head. They haven't learned this skill set, right? And most of them are 2-income earners. They would much rather spend their time having fun and pay someone to do this sort of stuff because they've got the money to do it, because they've got two income. So both sides, the older generation, the younger generation, everyone is using companies like Mr. Handyman. It's made for a phenomenal. That's how we're hitting those big numbers like that. Just so wonderful on the on this industry. It's not going anywhere. It doesn't matter what the economy's doing. It doesn't matter who the president is. None of that stuff matters. Your house is still 42 years old. Stuff is still breaking. You're still going to call Mr. Handyman.
Yeah, and sometimes when it's something really important, you need somebody to take care of you right away. And sometimes the price is second. It's not as important as I have a
Absolutely.
problem, help me out, you know? And I do have, you know, friends that, you know, back in the day, they wanted to do it yourself. And then the wives will hate it because the husband will take weeks or months trying to do something. And they are without a bathroom, without the kitchen, and they will just hate it. Or if they make a mistake, now it's going to cost them more money. So I see value in time-wise. Like, I don't do anything. I don't know how to do anything. It's because of time. I'd rather use my time helping people out, you know, getting into business ownership than trying to fix something. James, this is a question for you. In your opinion, what are the highlights? Like, let's say, even if you were not affiliated with Nervoly and you are trying to get into business ownership, when you are evaluating this opportunity, why will you join Handyman? What are the features or the benefits? What is it about this brand that will make you say, you know what, this is the best option for me?
In the beginning, you wouldn't know. But as you go through this process and speak to some of the owners, you find out.
A little louder, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. In the beginning, you might not know the answer to that. So as you go through this process, you find out very quickly that the thing that's one of the most important parts about Mr. Handyman is the fact that we have such, and Greg had mentioned this earlier, that we have such friendly Mr. Handyman to help you grow your business. Our territories are totally protected. One handyman cannot go in to do business in another handyman's territory. So there's no competition. So they're very anxious to be able to help you grow your business. I hate to go into a long story. I'll make it a short one. Give you an idea. We have a woman who's one of our owners. She lives in Knoxville, Tennessee. She and her husband bought a franchise in 2016. They were both what we call Top Gun earners. The third year, her husband passed away, and she thought that she would have to sell the business. But this is where Mr. Handyman franchisees come in so important. 40 of the franchisees actually went to her husband's funeral. 8 of them took turns spending 2 weeks with her at her location in Knoxville, Tennessee, to show her how she could keep her business. Well, that was in 2018. She was the franchise owner of the year 3 years ago. She still owns her business. She's now made it a 2-territory business. And without the types of people that work for Mr. Handyman specifically, because we're talking about Mr. Handyman, and also Neighborly, that would never have happened. This woman would have sold her business, and she would have had a very different life. So I hope that answers your question.
It does. It does. The community. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. He potentially could have even gone out of business and lost all the work and all the time and all the money they put into the business.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, guys, is there anything that we haven't mentioned that will be important to mention before we wrap up?
You know, you leave. I think we covered everything very well. I want to thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. Thanks to you, to your listeners, to everyone that's helping out here. It has really been a pleasure being on your show and getting to know you. And looking forward to it. If there's anything that I can answer, you know, down the road, or myself or James, please don't hesitate to reach out to us.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, sorry, I was rude. Sorry, Ever. I forgot to ask if you had any questions before they go.
I have questions. My questions are polite usually. You can answer them. How does Mr. Handyman, or what advantages does Mr. Handyman as a franchise provide to franchisees nationwide on their building materials and their tools? Are there agreements like with, materials and stuff?
I'm so glad you asked that question, because you leave ask if we missed anything, and I forgot about that one. That is a huge one. So we have a company within Neighborly called ProTradeNet. ProTradeNet. So Neighborly has leveraged their size for purchasing power. So we have nearly 300 vendors that are part of ProTradeNet. Everything from business insurance to employee benefits to tools to materials to you name it, customer financing, you name it, anything possibly for your business, we've got a solution there. So it does not cost one single penny. It is part of you being a franchise owner with Neighborly, with Mr. Handyman, and it's also 100% optional. If you have a better option, then by all means use it. But let me give you some numbers on that real quick. Last year we saved, this is across all of Neighborly, we saved our owners nearly $100 million on the front side on their upfront savings. We also gave rebate checks back in the amount of $8.7 million. So let me repeat that again. Neighborly wrote checks back to their franchise owners for nearly $9 million for buying stuff they were going to buy anyway. That equates to about a $3,000 average check for Mr. Handyman. So our Mr. Handyman owners on average got a check for $3,000 every year just for buying stuff that they were going to buy anyway. So thank you so much for asking that question.
Yeah, and that's not just my question. It's a question that comes up with a lot of our franchisees or a lot of our potential franchisees. They ask us, what's the difference between buying a business and getting into a franchise? And we're always telling them, well, I'm a franchisee for another franchise, so I know the value that being part of a franchise brings. And this is one of the biggest questions. Like, how do I get leverage? Not so much on pricing, but if I come, most of our customers are probably from abroad, and they're moving to the US to open their business, and they're like, okay, so I need to buy tools, and I need to buy my wood and my paint and my tools. Do I just drive up to a Home Depot? So having that level of support, and then the price leverage is also good. And having someone to go to specifically for these things is invaluable.
I'll mention something else about there, because you said there's a lot more than just the savings and the rebates and things like that. What if you have a problem and you own a small business, right? And if you have a problem with a vendor, you're on your own fighting them, right? And now you come in there as a franchise owner with Neighborly, and this vendor has 6,000 customers, part of Neighborly, and you have a problem. I promise you, they're going to solve your problem, right? Because they don't want to lose that account.
That is leverage, if anything.
Absolutely.
Last question. What is the number one challenge new franchisees usually face, and how does the franchise help them?
Wonderful question, and I'm going to say this: the biggest question, and it's something that's ongoing, is finding the right help, right? So I don't know that that's isolated to Mr. Handyman. I think that's with any business, but I always tell people, and I know James does the same thing, we're going to continually be recruiting for those service professionals, right? One thing is there's going to be turnover, right? You're going to be looking for that right person, but also you're going to have growth as well. So I think that's the first thing that panics people is, oh my gosh, I don't know how to fix anything. You know, I don't know how to tighten a screw up. How in the world am I going to do this? I have to find somebody. So the second part of your question is how do we assist you? We have many different computer programs and availability to help before you ever open your doors. We're going to make sure that you have two service professionals to start with. Now, is that going to be the same two that you're going to have for the next 10, 20 years? Probably not. Could be, but so we will also help train you on recruiting and finding the right people. But I think that would probably be the biggest thing.
That is great.
I do have a couple of questions here. I don't know what people. Okay. Call center, number one. Do you guys have a call center? So while the business owner is on the field supervising or whatever, is somebody answering the phone and making bookings?
Yeah, so great question. And the answer is yes, we have availability of a call center. I'm smiling because it's something that we bounce back and forth with. So Neighborly does have a call center that we can utilize. The owners actually have the option. They can opt into the call center if they would like, or they can do it themselves with the CSR. There's pros and cons to both, Yaleem, but the good news is whichever side of the fence you're on, you can do it that way. You know, the negatives on the call center, well, they don't answer the phone like I want them to, and all of these different things. But the good news is they'll answer it 24/7, 365, and your CSR, they're going to go home at 5 o'clock, right? So you can do it either way, and you can do a combination of both. You can have the call center on after hours, and your customer service rep doing the business hours. So however you want to do it, we can help you out.
Perfect. What about licenses? Does the franchisee need to have any special licenses?
It's state specific. The good news is most of them are fairly easy because it's not it's not something like plumbing or electrical and things like that. It's usually because the smaller jobs, not a big problem, but we'd really have to answer that on a state by state basis. The states that are typically difficult with everything, they're going to be a little more difficult with us. But your Floridas and Texas, those are not big problems.
Perfect. What about royalties?
Royalty. You know what? I'm going to let Jim answer this one because there's a breakdown, and I'll let him answer this one if you don't mind, James. You're still on mute. Hold on.
I get like questions on my phone.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Royalties, we have royalties broken up into two things. There's a 7% royalty on labor, and there's a 3.5% royalty on materials. So to give you an idea how to break that out, if let's just say you have $1,000 job that you're doing, you're going to find out that especially in the beginning with Mr. Handyman, most of your cost is going to be labor as opposed to materials. So if you break it down, it's 80% of your cost will be labor. So on $1,000 job, it's at $800. 7% of the $800 comes out to $53. On the material end, it should be about $200 from that $1,000 job. At 3.5% royalty, that's $7. So your total royalty for $1,000 job is $60. Now we also have a royalty on what we call a mapping fee. And every franchise in the United States has a mapping fee. And what that does is it covers the cost of national advertising and promotions that we do. It also helps us with those reunions that we talk about that we love so much. So basically what you come out with as an average is 8.3% as a total royalty. Now the thing to remember is this. Let's just say at the end of this meeting, it's going to be 6 o'clock. We're all tired and hungry. We go to McDonald's for a hamburger and a Big Mac and a glass of soda. And it costs us $14 each for that Big Mac. In that cost of $14, we are paying for the royalty from McDonald's. So the same thing with this. With our system going through the Service Titan system, it automatically puts the royalty fee into the cost of your customer. So your customer is paying for your royalties.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. In marketing, do they pay also corporate any marketing fees?
There are no marketing fees. It's basically covered in your franchise fee.
Got you. Okay. Ever? You're muted.
No, I wasn't saying anything interesting.
Okay. Well, thank you again, Greg. You guys are awesome. We love the Neighborly people. Thank you for your time. Thank you for educating our audience.
Yes, thank you so much.
I will hope to keep working together, guys. Have a good evening. Thank you.
It was wonderful. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Jim. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bueno, Ever, acá hay que resumir rapidito.
Okay.
¿Qué te parece si rapidito tú nos das los highlights? ¿Qué es lo que te pareció más interesante? Y me encantó la pregunta que hiciste al final sobre los challenges, porque nada es perfecto. Ninguna franquicia va a ser todo color de rosa.
Sí. Ok, yo tomé unas notas de las cosas que me parecieron como más interesantes de la charla. Neighborly, Mr. Handyman es parte del grupo de franquicias de Neighborly y Neighborly es el grupo de franquicias de servicios más grande del mundo, con 50 años de vida, al menos en Estados Unidos. Hablando específicamente de Neighborly, la inversión arranca en los $123,000 hasta los $160,000. Es una franquicia desde ese punto de vista atractiva para empezar. De nuevo, es de estas franquicias que tienen, que le dan a los franquiciados muchos servicios respecto del marketing. El costo del marketing está integrado dentro de los costos de la franquicia como corriente, no tiene un adicional. Tienen un plan de capacitación muy intensivo, muy largo, 6 semanas, visitas a la oficina de ellos, visitas a las oficinas, al negocio de otro franquiciado que ya está funcionando, luego el training in situ. Algo súper interesante también, la parte de Pro Trade Net, que ellos, siendo tan grandes, obviamente tienen este poder de compra masivo, entonces pueden proveer de material. Dijo que tenían 300 oficinas de Pro Trade Net o locales de Pro Trade Net a lo largo y a lo ancho de Estados Unidos, con lo cual es muy probable que en cualquier ciudad, en cualquier estado o en cualquier ciudad más o menos grande que uno vaya, va a tener al menos 1 o 2 de estos Pro Trade Nets para poder ir y comprar herramientas y comprar materiales. Seguramente alquilan herramientas para trabajos especiales, etcétera. Ese apoyo técnico es súper interesante. Otra cosa que me llamó la atención es el 72% de la facturación viene de negocios repetidos.
Sí.
Eso habla de la lealtad de un cliente de Handyman.
Y la necesidad, porque a tu casa le van a seguir pasando cosas.
Exactamente. Sí. Y por último, bueno, hay también noto de un montón de cosas, pero el code referral, el hecho de que Neighborly tiene un montón de franquicias y que se comparten los leads entre ellos, eso es muy bueno, es muy poderoso. Y la última cosita que había tomado por acá, bueno, ya me olvidé cuál era, pero...
Sí, costos fijos bajos, negocio de lunes a viernes, a menos que hagas más comercial y ahí tienes que extender tus horarios de operaciones.
Sí, correcto. La nota respecto de qué potencial tiene como negocio, particularmente en Estados Unidos, es esto que él decía, que las personas mayores ya no se suben a las escaleras para limpiar una lámpara, que es la clase de trabajo que Handyman haría, y los chicos, los más jóvenes, mis hijos que ya deberían estar llegando a la edad en que podrían hacer eso, ni Rocío ni Benjamín remotamente se van a subir a una escalera a arreglar una cosa, no lo harían. Así que eso hace que sea súper interesante. Hice un cálculo rápido mientras estaban hablando, un cálculo rápido respecto de la facturación promedio y el costo promedio de trabajo, como para hacer una validación, para llegar con el valor promedio de un trabajo a la facturación promedio que tienen en la presentación, hacen 1.300 órdenes de trabajo en un año.
Sí, entonces sí, es como que tiene sentido y podría ser el doble, o sea, 1.300 en 300 días.
Sí,
porque son de lunes a viernes.
Lo seguía checando, son 5 trabajos por día. 5 trabajos por día en 2 equipos de trabajo, que son 2 camionetas con 1 o 2 handymans cada uno, hacen un trabajo, uno de esos equipos hace 3 trabajos en el día y el otro hace 2, ya con eso ya estás. Entonces, no es para nada raro pensar que eso es posible, y eso es con el equipo mínimo. Con 2 equipos de trabajo se puede llegar muy fácilmente a ese promedio de facturación anual de $790,000.
Sí, eso está bastante bueno. Y también eso, porque nos aclaraban que esas ventas promedio de casi 900.000 son con un solo territorio, no son con varios. En algunas otras marcas a veces es necesario. Lo que sí, bueno, como no todo es perfecto, las regalías están en su totalidad, nos dijo 8.3, está como un poquito superior al promedio. Hemos visto otras franquicias que tienen 6, 7%. Incluso hay franquicias que tienen, de acuerdo a cuánto más facturan, ahora ya no es un 7, sino baja un 6 a un 5, etcétera. Entonces, cosas que ustedes necesitan comparar. Cuando alguien de ustedes se interese en ver alguna marca, también interésense en ver a la competencia o algo similar, algo que satisfaga los mismos intereses que tienes. Por ejemplo, acá lo interesante es que tienen servicio recurrente. Bueno, hay varias franquicias que también tienen servicio recurrente, de repente también así un 70% de clientes repetidos. Cuentas nacionales, no todas las franquicias lo van a tener, solamente las franquicias grandes, que básicamente compañías grandes le llaman al corporativo y le dicen necesito este servicio. Y bueno, el franquiciado que esté en ese territorio lo va a hacer. Nos explicó también un poco del territorio, que obtienen un territorio protegido que es típico, exclusivo, no quieren que haya demasiada competencia, estructuran los territorios de cierta manera que el franquiciado tenga potencial de venta y potencial de ganancias. Hay una reventa en Orlando, así que si alguien quiere esta franquicia en Orlando, llámenos ya. ¿Qué más? Yo creo que hemos cubierto todo y con suerte los slides estaban en español, chicos, así que les recomiendo que puedan también practicar. Los que tienen el inglés así más o menos, escuchen esto en inglés porque se están apoyando en lo que ellos están diciendo con lo que está diciendo las imágenes. Así que eso les va a ayudar. Y también después denos un comentario, ¿qué les pareció esta modalidad de hacer todo en inglés y después hacer un recap en español? O si prefieren que vayamos traduciendo. Así que ya nos estarán contando. Bueno, hacen todo tipo de trabajo, 55 servicios nos dijeron. También podían hacer una renovación completa de una cocina, pero sí tienen forma de no competirse, ¿no? Porque si hay un trabajo que les sale fuera de control o de presupuesto para ellos realizarlo, se lo pasan a una marca hermana. En cuanto al challenge, como cualquier negocio, la contratación de personal sería el mayor problema. Pero ¿no? Hay personas, no es que hay escasez de empleados y creo que eso es todo, ¿no? La mayoría del costo, obviamente, viene el costo de labor, porque los materiales casi es nada. Y bueno, nada, hablaron lo de las conferencias. ¿Qué más?
Sí, me pareció que estuvo todo muy interesante. Dijiste al pasar, hay algo que yo me había olvidado, que es lo de los contratos nacionales. Vamos a repetir de qué se trata eso. Lo que eso quiere decir es que Neighborly, como la franquicia de servicios más grande de Estados Unidos seguramente, hace contratos con otras empresas grandes nacionales y le pasan, que no todas las franquicias hacen eso. Ellos firman contratos nacionales y los que ejecutan esos trabajos localmente son las franquicias locales en cada lugar y lo facturan y lo venden en cada una de las franquicias locales. Entonces voy a decir, Neighborly hace una franquicia, firma un contrato nacional de servicios de tipo Mr. Handyman con el Bank of America. Entonces, el Bank of America, cuando necesita un handyman, llama a Neighborly y le dice, oye, necesito un handyman acá en Winter Park, y es ese franquiciado el que recibe ese pedido y va y hace ese trabajo. Entonces, más allá de los esfuerzos de marketing y demás, siempre van a llegar, o está el potencial al menos de que lleguen negocios de estos contratos nacionales que tienen Neighborly con otras grandes empresas a nivel nacional.
Claro, sí, sí, sí. También me gusta que no requiere licencias mayores este negocio. Y eso también es algo que ustedes tienen que prestar atención, porque el negocio que ustedes quieran tiene que ser amigable para ustedes. Tienen que darse cuenta que ese negocio es manejable. Es muy importante poder entender el modelo de negocio, cuánto van a ser tus costos fijos. No solamente te preocupes por la inversión inicial, sino también preocúpate cómo van a ser tus primeros meses de operaciones. ¿Tienes suficiente capital de trabajo? Si no te gusta vender y quieres una franquicia, un negocio que tenga clientes recurrentes, si quieres un negocio que de inmediatamente tenga cash flow positivo porque no te quieres bancar esos 6 meses o un año que tomaría llegar al punto de equilibrio en algunos casos, y de repente te quieres comprar una franquicia o un negocio en reventa, te podemos ayudar. Nosotros queremos que nuestros clientes tengan como le decimos, un aterrizaje suave en su negocio. Queremos que el día que tengan la llave de su negocio, que estén bien, que estén contentos, que se compren un negocio saludable, que ustedes entiendan todas las partes que conllevan el negocio, porque eso va a ayudar a que ustedes estén motivados y eso va a ayudar a que también tengan una mejor calidad de vida, porque sobre todo los que se están mudando con tantas cosas nuevas para ustedes y para su familia, qué lindo que cuando tengan un negocio, sea un negocio sano, un negocio que ustedes entiendan, un negocio que a ustedes les guste, ser parte de una franquicia que a ustedes les guste, que sean como su familia, que les den todo el soporte que ustedes necesitan y a nosotros también, porque el proceso de selección también es un poquito complicado, porque tienes muchas opciones, sobre todo en el internet hay mucha información, alguna información incompleta o falsa. Entonces, la compra de una franquicia, a pesar que le decimos compra, es una postulación. Ustedes van a seguir un proceso de educación, en inglés le llaman discovery process o educational process, en vez de decirle compra de franquicia, si le dicen educational o discovery, porque es importante que ustedes entiendan antes que firmen. Van a firmar un contrato por 10 años. Entonces, ustedes necesitan entender cuáles son las responsabilidades de ustedes con la franquicia, ¿no? ¿Y qué es lo que va a hacer la franquicia por ustedes? Ustedes necesitan poder entender eso, todas sus obligaciones, todas sus responsabilidades. Y bueno, Ever, yo creo que acá no sé si hay algo más que mencionar.
Dos cositas nada más. Gracias, Vanessa, por tus comentarios, muy, muy bien recibidos. Ahí alguien preguntaba por los territorios disponibles. ¿Sería imposible listar todos los negocios disponibles? Tal vez podríamos preguntarle a Greg si Neighborly tiene un mapa de territorios, como algunas franquicias tienen mapas de territorios disponibles y que podamos compartirlo luego con las personas que estén interesadas. Si no, pregúntenos, hey,
Claro, sí,
por un territorio específico y los buscamos a ver si está
claro,
disponible.
y aparte, por ejemplo, hay zonas, por ejemplo, Houston, San Antonio, Austin, Dallas, estas zonas conocidas o Miami, o sea, son gigantescas. Y los territorios, hay varios territorios en las ciudades o en ciudades alrededor. Entonces nosotros vamos a poder chequear por ustedes, no solamente cuáles territorios están disponibles, pero cuáles son los mejores. Nosotros, por ejemplo, a las franquicias le podemos preguntar porque tenemos la confianza y una relación de decirle, oye, ¿cuáles son los mejores mercados? ¿No? A veces algunas franquicias ya identifican y ya tienen una lista de hot markets, así le llaman, y algunas no. Entonces, es eso. Ustedes van a poder evaluar cuáles zonas están disponibles, el ingreso promedio en esas zonas, cómo van a ser los colegios en esas zonas. Así que llámenos, nosotros les ayudamos a chequear que está disponible. Aparte, ustedes pueden elegir, me quiero ubicar en esta ciudad, me quiero ubicar en esta zona, y nosotros les ayudamos a conseguir una franquicia. Esta franquicia está bastante buena, así como tenemos acceso a esta franquicia, tenemos acceso a otras franquicias que también son bastante buenas. Así que, bueno, denos un llamado y vamos a estar más que felices de ayudarles.
Ok, bueno, muchas gracias. Gracias, Jenny. Muy lindo todo. Gracias al equipo de soporte y hasta la próxima. Gracias.
Claro que sí, un abrazo gigantesco y como siempre les deseamos muchos éxitos en su vida personal, profesional y financiera. Nos vemos el próximo martes. Gracias.
Adiós.